To have a massive update on the C-19 virus status here in Las Vegas. We need to talk about the RT rate, we need to talk about the overall positivity rate, and talk about how New York State, New Jersey can now travel to Las Vegas, and what's going to happen with the bars. This is a very important video update. It's September, middle of September 2020. We've been through this through March, April, May, June, July, August, September. It's now been 7 months. What happens going into, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 months from now is going to really hinge on what happened right now. We just got over the Labor Day. We just got to a point where our RT rate, which I'll explain in a minute, is less than 1, much less than 1, which is a positive. And we just got out of the red zone, which we'll also explain here. And so I will add, my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I hope you would like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for the future notifications. Are you optimistic? Tell me in the comments to the future of what's going on out here. Or are you pragmatic, which means you're practical, or are you pessimistic, which means you never really liked Las Vegas because it took all your money, and then your wife took your dog away and your kids and your family because you gambled too much. That's what I think the Vegas haters are all about anyways. They have a bad Vegas experience. Now everybody's got to hate Las Vegas because they don't like it very much. Bad decisions. Anyhow, if you guys want to join in the chat, you guys can just leave us a comment below what you think about the whole situation in the city. Is it ridiculous or is it reasonable what's happening right now? You guys can also head on over to Facebook. We have the Facebook group called Not Leaving Las Vegas. No politics, no advertising stuff all over the place. Answer the questions to get in. Those are the only 3 rules. We also have ways to support with the members, YouTube members. We also have the Patreon, and I also just finished up my Giant Caesar's Palace video. I have to fix the credits somehow. There's too many names. I'm trying to figure it out, and I want to post it up, but I don't want to put you guys out there if you're not in those credits, because you will be if you're supporting me there. VegasFacemasks.com. The only 2 face masks we're ever going to need. Hey, guess what? I think we're going to need face masks in Vegas for a long time. I think the trend will be businesses wanting face masks in them. I think that when I was a kid, we all wondered why people in Japan wore face masks all the time. I think the Japanese had something going on there. They were smarter than all of us because they got out of this okay. So 2 for $25, VegasFacemasks.com. Commercial's over. We have to talk about things right now. We have to be very serious. We have to be not overly optimistic, but not overly pessimistic. We have to be middle grounded. That's what I've been trying to do on this channel for a long time, since the very, very start. So, that being said, people from New York and New Jersey can now come here. For a while, their governors of those states signed edicts or laws saying that if you travel to a place with over a 10% positive rate of total tests conducted, they were going to make sure that when you got back, they knew about you, and then they were going to check in on you and expect you to stay at home and do nothing for a while. That was just to protect their citizens, I suppose. A lot of people said it was a political ploy, a political game. I don't see how that helps them politically. And it did seem to help in New York. Their numbers are down. In New Jersey, their numbers are down. Nevada and Las Vegas was not the only place that they did this to. They actually did it to a bunch of other states, so we weren't being signaled out. Although I did wonder where the small business owners were. Why wouldn't they sue these places? Gosh knows, the biggest metropolitan area in the country is on the East Coast, and it would have been nice to get those people out here if they wanted to try to travel. Now they can, finally. So our positivity rate is 7.5% right now. That means that if you take 100 people and you take 100 tests and 100 tests come back, only 7.5 out of 100 people actually tested positive. For a while there in Nevada, it was like 15%, maybe even over 15%. I think 15.6% was our peak, which is an awful lot of positive cases coming back. So they want to make sure that those are going down. That's a good trend to have going down. But what's going to happen now that Labor Day weekend passed? Well, Labor Day weekend is done. We're done with Labor Day weekend. Did I mention Labor Day weekend is done? It is. So I suspect that we are going to have an uptick in cases. Maybe our positivity rate surges again for a brief period. It happens at every single big gathering, be it the protests that happened right before the casinos opened, or be it the 4th of July. We always get a bit of a surge. At one point, our surge was so bad that we had 1,500 plus cases a day happening here. But recently, we've been having anywhere between 150 to 300 cases a day. So it's definitely going down in terms of a trend. With our positivity rate dropping, there's an opportunity that the bars might actually open back up. That might actually happen. But then again, there's so much confusion over the bars, because while I don't think Sisolak himself is a bad communicator when he speaks at a podium in front of people, I think that the people that feed him the information and write the things that go on the website are terrible at what they do. Quite honestly, they are. Look, I'm a communicator for a living. I work in sales and marketing. I have to convey messages to people, and every day I'm trying to do it in a more succinct way. The company I work for is always trying to get the message out, and that's what you have to do. Last week they said that the countertops that serve food could open up, so all the bar owners said, "Whoo, hot diggity dog, we can go ahead and we can serve alcohol at those bars." And within 24 hours they had to clarify, can't do that. We're talking about places like Denny's and Lulu's Diner, if that's an actual thing. Those places that serve food can do that, but the bars have to stay closed. To play devil's advocate to what the state is all about right here, they're saying at the same time that the restaurants can open. How long does a person sit at a restaurant bar top and eat? Maybe an hour, maybe, possibly, from getting your order in and getting your check and paying and leaving. They're saying what we all know. We all know that alcohol is a thing that makes you a little bit more socially loosey-goosey. They're saying that they know that people will sit at a bar for hours on end. They'll have their mask down almost the whole entire time. They're saying what we all know and what we've all seen in a casino. People who were strangers just an hour and a half before are now sometimes fawning all over each other, make it out in the corner at a bar, because that's what alcohol does. Heck, Lee's Discount Liquor here, if you live in Vegas, let me know if you've ever seen these billboards. They do an entire billboard campaign on how alcohol liberates you and makes you loosey-goosey. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things, but the state is saying that you shouldn't do those things at a bar top, so those bars are still closed. But it comes down to the small business owners, right? The small tavern owners. Yeah, okay, the Cosmopolitan Chandelier Bar is closed. And, you know, unfortunately, Bar Canada and the longest bar in Nevada over at the D are closed right now. They're assuming that those businesses will be fine. And in the long run, they probably will. But the small business owners are the big problem out here. You have some of these bars being interviewed by the local media saying that they took out $100,000 or a $300,000 loan just to stay in business, just to stay afloat. What happens when those loans come to fruition and come to pass and have to be paid? Some of these people are on the hook for $5,000 a month and extra just so they could keep their doors open during this time. And without those bars operating, they lose a lot. So what do we do with the bars? Well, I think the bars, we're going to have to wait a few weeks. See, the thing is, going back to that idea of the surge is an important thing. If we have a Labor Day surge, it's going to make the positivity rate go back up. So if the board policy here, the board of people that decide if the bars can open, see it surge, what are they going to do? Close the bars back down again? It's playing with people's lives. So I imagine they want to be better safe than sorry. See if in a few weeks or about a week or two from now, because it's already been a week since the Labor Day weekend passed, they're going to see if it's almost been 2 weeks, actually. They're going to see if, after everything is said and done, that surge never comes. And if that surge never comes, I imagine maybe the bars would open up by October, but that's just my best guess based on the information presented to me. But going forward, what else is there to look at? Well, there is one very important metric that we have to look at, and that's the RT rate. Now, that doesn't stand for Russia Today, because that's a news channel that people either love or hate. So I'm not going to get into that. That's very political, whether or not it's fake news. RT is the rate of transmission. There's a website called RT.live that many of you don't know about. What is the RT, the rate of transmission? That's if one person becomes infected, how many other infected people do they infect? So right now, if the RT is above 1 anywhere on the planet Earth, it's not just a USA specific number. That means that that person above 1 will infect 1 plus whatever people. So if it was RT2, that means that every one person would infect 2 other people, and they would infect 2 other people, and so on and so forth. Right now, thankfully, if it's above 1, it spreads, and if it's below 1, it recedes. Right now, Nevada's RT is 0.84. That means that every infected person is infecting less than 1 person, which means that our numbers should drop precipitously, which is a very good thing. As long as we can keep those RT numbers down, as long as we can keep our positive percent of tests coming back down below 10, and the WHO, whether or not you trust them with all of their stellar track record, says that below 5 is the best place to be, and that means you don't have any kind of problem. That's when something transitions from pandemic to epidemic, which means that we go from something that spreads rapidly to something that's more seasonal, like a flu that's a real bad pain in the ass, but you can deal with it. Whether or not that all stays where it is will dictate the entire future of this city right now. It will dictate everything. Now, as for conventions, we're completely screwed if we don't have conventions. We can't go back to the place that we were. I've said on the channel before, oh, Vegas is going to go back to the olden days, old gambling and drive-ins. That doesn't solve the problem. The problem exists because we have billions and billions, if not $1 trillion of real estate on the Strip right now. The problem exists because we have large venues that need to have people in them in order for them to turn a profit. And until we can get some kind of a vaccine or a herd immunity out in there, and herd immunity, by the way, not a bad thing. It's how all of these pandemics in the past have ended. It's why we don't get swine flu anymore. It's why the Spanish flu is no longer a problem. Pandemics they stop when herd immunity is in the populace. Now, if we get there or we get a vaccine, that's when everything really comes back to normal. But before then, we could find ourselves in a situation, if this continues, for us to be back to some kind of normal, maybe 75% of normal, by maybe January, February of next year. And that's my thoughts on that. And I'm interested to know what you think about it. I think a lot about this stuff because I live in this city and I love this city, and I don't want to see this city wither and die like grapes on a vine that weren't picked going into the harvest season. I don't want to see you guys get hurt while you're out here. I do want to see you guys come to Las Vegas if it's appropriate for you, meaning that if you don't have anybody back home that could get sick that you come back home to, if you yourself are in good shape, I want to see you make that decision for yourself to come here if you think it's worth it. I want to see you wearing the face mask. I'd love to see you wearing VegasFacemasks.com face masks, 2 for $25. I'd love to see you guys coming here, washing your hands, socially distancing, and enjoying yourselves the best you can. Let's get it back open, Las Vegas. Let's hope for the best. Let's say a prayer for those that are hurt. And that's my video today. My name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for the future notifications. Leave us a comment below. Join us over on Facebook. See us on our live streams. We'll see you guys in the next video. Now's the time where I say 3, 2, 1, click. So ready? 3, 2, 1, and I hope I was looking over here at my video the whole time. Click!